So the next theory is the theory which is given by Darwin's theory. So it is the Darwin's theory. So it is Darwin's theory, and this is a theory of natural selection. Okay, there is a theory of natural selection, that is Darwin's theory of natural selection. Charles Darwin, that is from 1809 to 1882, proposed the idea of natural selection or Darwinism in 1859. Darwinism does not exactly mean what evolution is, but it explains how evolution might have occurred in nature. So Darwin doesn't say that, it doesn't say like the giraffe के हाँ वो ऊंचा करते 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 उसका neck ऊपर हो गया, और तो it doesn't say that way, but it does say that what would be the reason for the evolution to take place, or what could be, it explains then what could have occurred in nature के जिसके कारण evolution हुआ. So Darwinism or theory of natural selection is based on several observable facts. These facts are, first one, overproduction. So what Darwin did was he found out certain important kind of characteristics of the species, due to which you can understand that why the organism would have evolved. Okay, why was the evolution taking place in the organism? So first thing what he saw was overproduction. So living beings, both plants and animals, have an innate desire to produce their own progeny so that the race may continue. It has been observed that more individuals are produced to increase the chance of the survival. The following examples would clear the overproduction rate amongst animals. So he says that the organisms always have a desire that its species is going forward and always going to be remaining throughout the environmental changes. So that's the reason each and every animal or plant will have a tendency to give birth to more number of progeny, more number of organisms or living beings of its own type. So this overproduction is given by the example over here of, first one is oysters. Now oysters lay 60 to 80 million eggs, okay, 60 to 80 million eggs in a single spawn. A single spawn of the oyster will have 60 to 80 million eggs. If all the eggs hatch and young ones survive, after a few generations, their shells would be more about the size of the earth. So if you see that if they would have survived, if each and every 60 to 80 million eggs would have survived and caused their growth would have taken place and they would have become shells, then the whole earth would have been completely made up of shells. So because it would be after a few generations, their shells would be about the size of the earth itself. So the population of the oyster would be so much that the whole earth would have been covered with oysters, but that is not true, right? Paramecium divides at the rate of 3 times in 48 hours. In just 48 hours, paramecium is getting 3 times. It is getting not doubled, but it is 3 times in just 2 days. If all survived, the mass of paramecium would be approximately equal to 10,000 times the mass of the earth. Paramecium, which is just a microorganism, if it is able to survive completely and the reproduction rate is such that it is going to be 3 times in every 48 hours, then the weight of that paramecium would be, if all of them survived, would be such that it would be approximately 10,000 times the mass of the earth itself. Lastly, the elephant is the slowest breeder. If it produces 6 young ones in its life of about 90 years. If all survived, there is a period of 750, then in a period of 750 years, there would be about 19 million elephants. So see, first of all, the longevity of elephant is very high. Elephant lives for 90 years, and in that time of 90 years, they can reproduce 6 times. Okay, they can reproduce 6 young ones in their lifespan. So if each and every one would have been survived, then in 750 years there would be around 19 million elephants. So you can see that each and every animal is giving birth to a higher rate of generation, but they all don't survive. Okay, they all don't survive, only a partially they survive, and that is why we do not see that huge population of these kind of organisms or any organism at all. However, regardless of the rate of the reproduction of the species under natural conditions, the number of individuals of each species remains roughly constant over a long period of time in a fairly stable environment. So, if we consider that this environment remains stable, like fairly stable, that means suppose like 50 years or 50 years के span में, last 50 years के span में, has there been a very drastic change in the environment? No, there has not been a drastic change. There is only about total temperature में hardly 0.5 to 1 degree Celsius का difference आया है. It's a global warming. Otherwise, there is no drastic change in the environment. In such a case, it is saying that what was the number of the animals or the species 50 years back and what is right now is fairly the same. But agar wohi cheez, if we are considering the rate at which they are going to multiply, they should have multiplied huge number of times, but it doesn't happen so. So they see that it is not going to survive that way. So that's why the first thing is overproduction. So yes, they try to do overproduction so that they can survive more, but that's not true. Second one, struggle for existence. That means they do reproduce, they do give out so many eggs and everything, but they don't stay alive. They don't continue their life. Their life cycle is such that वो उतने eggs hatch नहीं होते हैं. Like in case of oysters, उतने egg hatch नहीं होते हैं. या paramecium, each and every one will not be dividing in that rate, or they get killed, they die. So that's why the number of that particular organisms or living species is remaining constant even though the reproduction is taking place. Struggle for existence. According to Darwin, individuals multiply in a geometric ratio, whereas food and space remains almost constant. This leads to a struggle for existence among the organisms. In this struggle, there is an intense competition between the organism for favorable shelter, climate, food supply, and breeding places. Competition may be between members of the same species, intraspecies, or different species, interspecies. So that's what I say, struggle for existence. Now it is seen that each and every organism, now the rate at which the organisms are going to multiply is in geometric propagation, that is GP, what we have already learned in maths. GP, that is 2 raised to n. So that is ऐसे करके बढ़ते जाएगा 2 का it's a multiples, okay? So 2 to 4, then 8, and 16, and so on. So it is in that way. Whereas the resources, that is the land, food, that doesn't multiply in that form. In fact, there is hardly any multiplication in those things. So what happens? If the number of individuals are increasing, but the food and the land and space for shelter and everything is remaining constant, there will always be a struggle, or there will be always a competition for their existence. So this competition of existence is either between the same species, that is intraspecies, that is between 2 elephants themselves, or 2 oysters themselves, or 2 giraffe themselves, or it could be between 2 species, that may be between an elephant and a giraffe, or between a cow and a buffalo, like that. So between 2 species or between the same species. So such kind of a fight or such kind of struggle for existence is going to be there between the species. Third is variation. Struggle for existence among the organism has compelled them to adapt themselves according to the condition so that they can utilize their natural resources and can survive successfully. So you see that there is a struggle for existence, and during that struggle, if that particular organism does not strive, does not work harder to change, okay, if it is not ready to change, or if it is not adapting new techniques to do some particular work, then its existence is in danger. Okay, so we see that and this particular struggle brings about a variation in the next generation or in the living organism. So this compels them to adapt themselves according to the conditions so they can survive the natural resources and can survive successfully. Because of the adaptation, it is difficult to find any of the two individuals alike. Even the progeny of the same parents are not exactly alike in all respects. That you very well know. Your brother and you, or your sister and you, are not the same. You are completely different. You keep on quarreling with them. Why? Because your ideas and his idea do not match in many of the cases. Not necessarily every time, but many of the times it happens that you are quarreling with them. Why? Because your ideas and their ideas don't match. Because there is a difference. There is a variation in each and every person born. Without variations, change could not occur, and hence there is no possibility of evolution to occur. So if there would have been no variations, then there would have been no change taking place. There would be no evolution taking place. Evolution क्यों हुआ? Because there was a struggle for existence, and then that caused a variation, and that variation brought about the change in the change or evolution in the organisms. Certain variations which once appeared in the parent generation continue to appear in the progeny generation after generation. So whatever changes, whatever variations was brought about by one generation, automatically that variations were automatically seen in the next generation, and it was continued from that generation to further generation after generation. So this variation what is seen is not temporarily for one particular generation, but it will be inherited from this particular parent to the next offsprings. These variations may be harmful or advantageous. Harmful variations will make its possessor unfit in the struggle for existence and will lead to its being weeded out. On the other hand, individuals possessing advantageous variations will be more successful in struggle for existence. So, of course, certain kind of variations are such that they are not allowing you to move forward, or they are not allowing you to fight against the change in the environment. In such cases, these variations are going to be harmful to you. It may be harmful to you because it is not allowing you to adapt to the change in the environment, but you are still having the same kind of variations, the same kind of a feeling or same kind of characteristics, which will not allow you to go further. So such is one which is harmful variations, and then there could be one which is advantageous. That means that's variation which is helping you to move forward or to go with the change in the environment, and that is making you more successful in the struggle of existence. And the last one is survival of the fittest. During the struggle for existence, only those individuals can survive which have advantages, adaptations or variations. You can see, of course, if any variation is there in you and that variation is not advantageous, you cannot survive, because the survival is always of the fittest. The fittest is the one which is going to survive. The nature is going to select those individuals which are fit to survive, but the other ones which are not fit will automatically get rejected or discarded. The individual or races without these variations will be rooted out. Nature selects only those variations which are suitable. That is what Darwin termed as natural selection. So this is natural selection. Nature is going to select only that particular variations which are suitable for that changed environment. Okay, if those particular individuals do not have that particular change or evolved, they are not evolved, then definitely they are going to slowly and steadily extinct. As the environment changes, new advantages get selected in nature. After many generations, sufficient characters would alter so as to change the species into a new ones. This explains how a new species is originated. So as the changes keep on taking place, so due to the change in the environment, there's a new change to just coming up in the species, and that change in the species makes it a kind of a evolution, or the new species being originated from the older ones. Origin of new species by gradual modification is called as speciation. So speciation is the method or the process by which new species have been originated from the older ones, or gradual modifications causing the new species to be originated. And this is a classic example of the Darwin's theory, which is very a good story, which can really make us understand that how the evolution could have changed place and what caused the evolution to take place. So this is a classic example of natural selection is provided by the peppered moth Biston Betullaria. Now this is an important question. The Darwin's theory, the story of the Darwin's theory was based on a moth. You know what is a moth? Something similar to a butterfly, okay? But not colorful. It is a brown colored thing. So that moth was there. The moth is given the scientific name of moth is Biston Betullaria. Now always remember that whenever such a question is asked, that what was the species on which Darwin experimented or Darwin's theory based on, then when you write the name Biston Betullaria, you need to underline that particular words. So Biston Betullaria, when you are writing, you are going to write it and underline it. This is as per the rules of binomial nomenclature of the species. Even if you write Homo sapiens, it has to be underlined. If you write any kind of a binomial name of any particular kind of a species, you need to underline that thing as per the rule. You will always find that these words are always printed in italic thing as in print. In print, they are always in the italic font. The font is italic in nature. It is always slant. It will never be a normal wording. You can easily make out that it is italic. This moth, with its light colored wings, dotted with spots, blended well with the lichens growing on the houses and tree trunks on which it rested. So this Biston Betullaria was a white colored moth having black colored spots on it and darker spots on it. And this dotted with spots, yeah, and this kind of figure that is white, light colored and spots on it was very much getting camouflaged on the trees and the wooden houses. So it was getting very much camouflaged with these surroundings over there. And hence they could easily be possibly present near the lichens of the houses and also the tree trunks. But there was another variety which had dark wings. This dark variety was rare in 1850 in Manchester area because it was eaten up by birds being easily visible to them due to its black wings. So there was the other kind of moth which were dark wings. So they had a dark color, brown color, or dark brown color kind of a wings. And because the other area was bright in color, and even the other moth were bright in color, so they got camouflaged. But this were easily prominently seen. अरे हाँ यहाँ पे moth बैठा हुआ है. Why? Because bright color में एक dark spot वो दिख जाता था. So the birds could easily identify them and they used to eat away. So slowly and steadily they started we can say the organisms, that is the dark colored moth, they started getting reduced. But then what happened? Let's see. The light colored moth was seen in large number as it was well concealed while resting on houses and tree trunks. This situation was observed in this area before Industrial Revolution. So till the Industrial Revolution, the bright colored moths were having a very safe kind of atmosphere around them because they got easily camouflaged in the color of the houses and the trees. But the dark colored moths were easily identified till the Industrial Revolution. But after individual industrial revolution in Manchester, the entire situation changed. The pollution in this area caused the death of lichens and darkening of the tree trunks with soot. So as the industrial revolution started, the chimneys and everything started increasing, and the amount of carbon dioxide generated and the amount of smoke generated became more and more. And this caused the death of the different lichens which are present over there. The tree trunks and the houses started getting the accumulation of the smoke, and that is they became dirtier, and accordingly the whole area which was originally bright in color became darker and darker. And now what happened, the dark moth became camouflaged with the area, whereas the white could easily be seen. So the pollution in this area caused death of the lichens and darkening the tree trunk with soot. Now the dark variety was better hidden in this area and not easily picked by birds. Natural selected acted through the agency of birds, and light colored moth easily became the prey. So the dark variety of the moth survived better, left more offsprings, and almost nearly replaced the light forms. This phenomena has also been called as, industrial melanin, not also, phenomena has been called as industrial melanism. Okay, so industrial melanism caused the bright colored moth to die, whereas the dark colored moth were easily being camouflaged, and hence they survived after the industrial revolution. So this was the example of the natural selection. So we see now the main differences between the Lamarck's theory and the Darwin's theory. Lamarck's theory, known as the theory of inheritance of acquired characters. Darwin's theory, known as the theory of natural selection. Lamarck's theory believes in the use and disuse of the organ parts used or changes acquired gets transmitted to the next generation. Darwin believes that since variation exists in individuals, only the fittest survive in the struggle for existence. Lamarck's theory stated that new species evolved after a long period of time, after many generations, by acquiring new characters. Where Darwin said new species evolved due to accumulation of favorable variations over a long period of time. Darwin was, however, unable to explain the source of variation, but modern genetics has revealed the source of variations, and Darwin's original theory of natural selection was modified. This new theory is termed as Neo-Darwinism, but Darwin is still regarded as the father of evolution. So, yes, the father of evolution is Darwin. The natural selection is taken as the basis, but only thing is that it never explained that how the change takes place. But now we know the change takes place because the mutation or the changeover in the genetics, or about the meiosis के अंदर का crossovers. So that is what is causing the changes to take place. So the variations are genetically formed. That is why it came out to be as Neo-Darwinism as the condition, right? As a new kind of a theory, that is Neo-Darwinism. We now move on to the evolution of humans. So now we move on to the next part, that is human evolution. So how did our humans evolve through the ages? So this is what we are going to study now. Just a minute. Okay, we continue. Carl Linnaeus in 1707 to 1778 gave man the scientific name Homo sapiens. In the animal kingdom, Homo sapiens or modern man belong to the order primates along with monkeys and apes. So we can see that in the kingdom Animalia, in the particular species, that is the species of primates, there are monkeys, apes and humans, all three in the same category, same kind of a thing. That's why we are having very similar characteristics to those of apes and monkeys. When human evolution began, forests had dwindled because of glaciation, the period of Ice Age marked by colder temperature and formation of glaciers. The common ancestors of apes and primitive humans had to come down from trees where they lived. They walked on the ground on all four limbs. So yeah, the older thing, if you are talking about the old day, that is the Ice Age and all, you will find that the Ice Age and all, at that time the humans, of course the human beings, they had got, they used to walk on all the four legs. So they had the forelimb and the hind limb all connected to the ground, like what the monkey does. So they were walking in that particular way, and they used to dwell on the trees because the whole area, the ground was filled with glaciers and ice. So that's why they normally dwelled on trees, and hence they need to use the hands and the legs for coming down and going up. That's why they were using all their four limbs for their locomotion. The story of man's origin and evolution is recorded in the rocks in the form of fossils. The scientific study of human origin and evolution is based on fossils which were obtained primarily from Asia and Africa. So primarily we got the fossils of the human from Asia and Africa. So this is part 3. Sorry. Not yet. So Asia and Africa. However, the fossils record is incomplete but is enough to construct the evolutionary path that human has followed. So yeah, we have got the fossils of our ancestors, and according to that particular fossil study, we can easily formulate, or we can easily find out the pathway which the humans have followed to become the present Homo sapiens. So the way it has got been that what kind of the people they were millions of years ago, and how they've evolved into the present structure of ours, is what is given in the web. Now this is done with the help of the fossils which they have received from, which they have found in Asia and Africa. But of course these fossils are not complete, they are incomplete in nature, they are not a continuous thing, but still they are sufficient enough for us to give a complete overview of how the humans got evolved in the pathway. So evolutionary. So however, the fossil record is incomplete, but it is enough to construct the evolutionary path that man has followed. The man is supposed to have originated from some ape-like ancestor about 15 to 20 million years ago, that is late Miocene period. These ape-like ancestors serve as a common ancestor for both apes and humans. So it has been seen that for apes and humans, both the kind of species, the ancestral species is the same. So there has been an evolution of some kind of category, and some has not evolved. Some not evolved reached the apes, and some not evolved has reached the humans. So these ape-like ancestors serve as a common ancestor for both apes and humans. Going from an ape-like form to human form required many major changes which are given below. So the changes which we got are bipedal locomotion and the freeing of four limbs from ground. So we got straighter and became bipedal. That means we have bipedal. That is, we walk on two legs and not on all the four. So we became straighter and we started walking on two legs so that our other two limbs are free. Increasing in cranial capacity. This is the cranial capacity. So there has been, originally the cranium was flat. So this particular part was very small. It was like flat over here. But slowly the cranial capacity has increased. So this is the increase in the cranial capacity. Reduction in the size of the canine due to the omnivorous feeding habits. So first there were canine teeth which were very sharp and pointed so that it could easily eat the flesh, because they used to eat raw. But slowly, steadily, they became, they didn't need that particular canine teeth, and accordingly, our canines have been much more smaller and not that sharper. So reduction in size. Loss of the jaw power. For the person, like we always know that when an animal is going to eat a flesh, it is going to require to and stretch that thing. So it requires a good amount of jaw power. But now because we have the hands which can work properly, and we don't eat something raw that way, that's why we do not require that much of jaw power. So the jaw power has decreased. Development of the chin, there is a development of the chin, another it was flat up till then. Development of a forehead and the brow ridges, this brow ridges and the forehead is what we started getting. Increase in the height, yes, the height became more. Erect posture by the development of lumbar curve. So the lumbar curve, this is the lumbar curve. So that is the erect position. So this curve made us erect. By this going backwards, our position became erect. But it was like this. So we were not straight, but now because of the lumbar curve, we became straighter. And reduction in body hair. So our body hair has been reduced. So that is also the last kind of a change which took place. So before learning about the human ancestors, it will be good if we start from the pre-human ancestor, the Ramapithecus. Ramapithecus walked erect on its hind feet and is known only by a few teeth and some fragments of jaws which were obtained as fossils. These two structures are considered to be an early man-like primate and of the oldest man's ancestor. So yeah, we will before the start of the evolution of the human, we consider that Ramapithecus was the earlier stage of the primate humans, and we don't have any fossil of those particular primates. We just have some few teeth and a fragment of the jaw. So that is the only thing what we have, and some we don't have anything else of that. So we do not have much of a study, but yes, that is the first kind of a primate for human ancestor. So now we start with the human ancestor, but in the next video.